Hey guys, Youngblood with you for another episode of Captain's Log, and what I want to do today is talk about using the Holotable and how you actually change your loadout for Arena Commander. Now, this admittedly is going to work a little bit better if you have more ships, especially those ships that have Arena Commander ready weapons on them, because it's going to give you more weapons that you can actually choose from, thus a greater variety of weapons and loadouts. You can also use weapons that you purchased in Voyager Direct to help with your loadout, and that's why you start seeing things like longswords and broadswords. So, in order to do this, you want to walk up to your Holotable after you find it, if you've never used it before. Walk up to it and hit the F button to interact with it once you see that Use indicator flash on the screen. Now, in order to actually do anything, because what's going to happen is the lights are going to dim and then the screen's going to come up, you actually need to hit Tab, otherwise you can't click on anything. And that's going to give you a mouse cursor. Now, on the right-hand side, you're going to see some of the ships that you have plus the loaners. Now, not all of your ships are going to be available, but you'll see some of them in there depending on what you actually own. Grab one ship, then pull it into the center. It's just a simple click and drag. And then from there, what you're going to do is you're going to need to go over to the Weapons tab by actually dragging that ring over a little bit. Now, in this example that I'm showing you right now, I've pulled up the Super Hornet, and I'm going to be taking the canard turret off the nose and the M4As off the wings. To do so, the weapons are highlighted in white. Basically, just grab them and drag them off to the right where you see the other weapons listed. Now, since the Super Hornet's not flyable, I want to put this on my F7A trainer, thus giving me a Super Hornet-like ship. I now have to scroll the ring back over to the Ships tab. I'm going to grab the F7A trainer and drag it into the middle. Then we're going to need to scroll over to the Weapons tab, and I can start putting weapons on. Now, you're going to see these green orbs where these different weapons can be placed. So in this example, I'm going to be dropping the canard turret on the center nose mount, and I'm going to put the M4As on that. And basically, then you're ready to rock. So in that example, that's how I would set up this, this particular loadout. So in order to exit that, you basically just hit Tab and then F. Exit, get into Arena Commander, choose the ship that you modified, otherwise it's not gonna work, and then you're ready to rock. And a few notes on the canard turret real quick. People on the forum seem to really hate the canard at the moment, primarily because it isn't actually connected to the power plant, meaning that your weapons aren't drawing any juice from the power plant, meaning that they're able to fire freely. So you might be called cheap if you do this. I don't really care, do what you want, but just a heads up. Now, that comes with a cost, though, meaning that not all weapons actually work. It's only some of the weapons that are, more ballistics-oriented or some that just aren't programmed right to actually use the power. So, for example, the M4As, the Omni-Sky 3s, the NN14s, the longswords, the broadswords, the mass drivers, the sledges, those work. But things like the bulldogs definitely don't, and some of the others that you can play with. So just keep that in mind, that not every setup that you actually load up is going to work on the canard. Now, in the second example I'm showing you, this is a good opportunity for somebody that wants to actually have a simple pip. Instead of having 3 different pips for the 3 different weapons, if you just want one pip, you could technically throw 6 different bulldogs on the same ship, meaning you've got 6 weapons all pointed at the same pip. That's kind of nice. That's what I'm doing in this example. But like I mentioned before, the bulldogs don't actually work that well. So you get some firing out of them, but then as soon as you run out of power on those, it doesn't recharge, meaning you're down to the 4 that you had that are not on the canard. And in this last example, probably my favorite of the group, I took my Aurora and decided to mount the Mantises from the F7A trainer. Now, I had a hard time actually seeing the mounting locations for the 2B mounts that the Mantises use, but you can actually hear when you hover over it with the actual mounting brick. So you don't actually need to see it, just kind of use an audio cue if you can't. I've had issues where I've seen it before and other issues where I couldn't actually see it, but the sound worked. The last thing to keep in mind is when you actually change out your ballistics weapons, you need to add the ammunition. So when you're talking about the Mantises, make sure that you're going over to the Ammo tab, which is just one spot over on the ring, and take that 20mm tungsten ammo, put 2 boxes on each Mantis, exit out of the Holotable, and you're good to go. I suggest you try the loadout if you've got what it takes to actually make that work, because it's hilarious. And then the last thing is just a general note. The 309 trainer only allows for mounts right now from the 300 series. It's kind of a known bug at the moment. So if you've got a 315, a 325, a 350, you should be able to use those. You should be able to use the other weapon mounts. But if you're trying to take a Hornet weapon or an I don't know, like a Aurora weapon and put it on a 300, it's not going to work. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. If you've got the Voyager direct weapons, go play with them, see what you got. If you've got a lot of ships, see what you find. You know, some of these loadouts are fun. It's kind of interesting to mix it up, see what gets better results. And it's a little teaser to what we might be getting in the persistent universe as far as customization and things that we can actually change on our ships. So that's it for now. I think the next episode that I'm going to do is actually going to be involving actually flying and some tips regarding that. So stay tuned for that when it comes out. Otherwise, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you all later. Take care.